My name is Amber Claver, and this is my story. This is actually my second time getting sober. I started using substances when I was about 14, so about the same time I had my first depression diagnosis. Most of my life, I have struggled with mental health problems, depression, anxiety, ADHD. Throughout those years, and sometimes still today, I've experienced very dark periods of time in my life. The classical depression symptoms, the low self-worth, the feelings of hopelessness and despair, thinking I don't have anything to offer the world, thinking there's something wrong with me. I've definitely struggled with those feelings a lot, to the point of being suicidal. I fortunately never attempted to take my life. I always was able to either find some resources or have the support that I needed to get through those dark times. Throughout my years struggling with depression and with those symptoms, I also developed an addiction to alcohol and would use other substances as well. I have just over 3 years sober now, and that's helped me tremendously with my mental health. I would just use alcohol as a means of escaping and avoiding my feelings, avoiding responsibilities. I was a functioning alcoholic. I was able to hold down a job. I had a family. We owned a home and earned a couple different graduate degrees. So I was able to do those things. I knew that I had a problem the whole time. It was just that I didn't quite know how to quit and wasn't ready to commit to quitting. I was working on my doctorate, and it was a couple years into the program. I had a beautiful baby girl. Actually, I had her my first year of the program. That was a surprise. She was 4 or 5 when I sobered up. And, you know, I was a high functioning alcoholic. I didn't abuse her, but one thing that I did do, which I'm ashamed to say, was I would drive under the influence of alcohol. You know, in my head, I told myself like, oh, I'm in control here. I'm not that drunk. I'm not whatever. But I knew that, you know, I'm taking a risk with my daughter, whether it's getting into legal trouble and having her taken from me, or God forbid, hurting her in an accident or somebody else. I think just realizing that how much of a better mom I could be for my daughter, just really seeing her and seeing how much I was letting her down. I just didn't spend that quality time with her the way I should. I was able to just kind of decide to quit. I was going to therapy. I attended hot yoga faithfully, and it was a very, very hard class that made me want to die while I was in there, but it really helped me with the early year, like the first year of sobriety. I had family support, just my medications that I used for my depression. I think the hardest part of it for me was just breaking the ties with the people that I would use for drinking with. Some of the ways that I've learned to cope with the depression, first, just taking care of my basic needs. So making sure that I get 8 hours of sleep and prioritizing that and not feeling selfish about that. Making sure that I schedule playtime into my day and time to get out into the sun. Physical activity has been a huge staple for me. And then adding like the social community aspect, which is why having this job here at the Phoenix has been so great for me, because we do both. You know, it's physical activity, it's positive support. I do therapy regularly, and I have medical treatments that I use. For me, it's, you know, it was about finding a doctor that I trusted and who was willing to work with me and try all the different things and kind of just figure out what works for me. Things that help me to stay sober. This job, just being in a position where I'm surrounded by other people who are in recovery, so being connected to those people that are experiencing similar things or have, you know, similar experiences has really helped. The message that I have, and one reason that I am truly thankful that I've experienced what I have with mental illness as well as with substance abuse and addiction, because now I'm able to help other people. So being able to share my story and offer a message of hope is so important to me. I believe that talking about our issues is the only way we're going to break down stigma associated with mental illness, especially, well, and addiction, because they're very common things, you know, and it's not a choice. You know, people don't choose to be depressed or choose to be addicts. So I think I just want to spread that message of hope and let people know that, like, no matter how bad it is or how dark it seems, keep fighting find what works for you, try different things. If you get with a therapist and that isn't a good fit for you, find another one. If you get a diagnosis that you feel like, doesn't hit you right, get a second opinion, keep trying, keep fighting. You will find what, your combination, your cocktail. I don't know if that's appropriate to use, but hang in there. Don't give up. It will get better.